Hello, guys, and welcome to the Podwans podcast. I am your host, Luke, and my co-host
It's me. Hello.
is
I
Char.
am CharCharJay.
We are going to be talking about episodes 17 and 18 of season 1. Get ready. Come join us.
You never would have made it as Obi-Wan's Padawan, but you might make it as mine.
Hey, guys, it's me again. We just had to try something new. So we got a special guest, and Mandaklorian is on
Hey
today's
there.
episode.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, man, this is going to be awesome. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Happy to be here.
Oh, man, this is what? Your third podcast you've done, right?
Yes. Still
Oh,
pretty
and
new.
let me tell you, this is going to be different than any other one.
Oh,
It might be
okay.
a little
All
bit more
right.
special. I don't know. I don't know if we can touch high ground, but we might be a couple of steps below.
Oh, I don't know.
But let's get into it. Introduce yourself, where we can find you on social media, and what got you into this little thing we call Star Wars.
Yeah, I'd love to. So, hi, I'm Kier, Mandaklorian on TikTok and Instagram. I'm primarily on TikTok, but what got me into Star Wars was my dad growing up. He called it tiny white dots, like Star Trek or Star Wars or all of that kind of stuff. And so I loved it. He exposed me to all of that. It was great. I grew up on it. In the prequel era, we went to all the movies in the theaters. I played Pod Racer on N64 like regularly. So that was me, and I've been a fan ever since.
Did you ever play the game Racer Revenge
No, I
on the
haven't.
PlayStation 2? Oh my god, that game was so
I've heard
fun.
about it though. You're not the first person. You're a fan?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I got the special. Well, my sister did. She got the special Battlefront 2 edition PlayStation 4. So it came with like a bunch of
Ooh.
voucher codes for old PS2 games, and it came
Nice.
with that game. So right
Oh,
when I started,
fun.
it came with that. It came with Jedi Starfighters, Star Wars
nice.
Bounty Hunter with Jango Fett, and a bunch of different other games. But I played
Uh-huh.
Racer Revenge first and had a blast with it.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Thank you.
It's so fun.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love
not
old Star Wars games.
I'm not a pod racer guy by any means, but
Mm.
I do enjoy Battlefront 2, the old one. That campaign is by far one of the best ever.
It's great. It's great.
Oh,
Do you not like the new Battlefront or
I
just
do.
the old?
I enjoy it, but I think there's a couple of things in Battlefront 2 that they need to clean up. Like, give me Galactic Conquest Online. That would be
Yeah.
awesome. Just going from planet to planet and kind of do like strategy. Because I feel like they lose a little bit of strategy in when it first came out. And then they
Yeah.
brought in supremacy, and then there's a little bit more of the strategy. But like
Yeah.
me and my friends used to stay up till like 2 a.m. playing tournaments of that.
Oh,
And
man.
it would just get insane.
That
Just
sounds awesome.
insane. But awesome. Let's get to the chat. Aiden talking Star Wars topics.
Aiden,
Let's
how you
go. He's gonna be on an episode here soon. Sorry guys, Victoria will not be on, unfortunately. She had to
Bummer.
cancel last second, but she will be on. I can promise you that. But we've got Brooke. Brooke, B Dazzler.
Hi.
Brooke. We played Battlefront 2 the other night, and she had just gotten done streaming. So she streams.
Wait, Brooke played with you?
Yeah, for a little bit.
Oh, that's
Lucky.
awesome.
Brooke
Lucky.
played-
Yeah.
Of course. I am not home right now. I'm at my buddy's apartment in Illinois State, so it's like I don't have like all of my stuff with me.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah,
wow, I
Yeah.
got to miss out on that. That's a shame.
yeah.
Well, next
so-
time.
Yeah,
Me and Tara will
absolutely.
both join you.
Yeah.
There you go. So she streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays are mostly Jedi Fallen Order, and then Thursdays now she's going through the campaign of Battlefront 2 and then doing online stuff.
Nice.
So definitely go check her out, and then check out her Etsy shop. I can't think of the name. So Brooke, put it in the chat and I'll highlight it later. But definitely go check out her stuff because she does customization for shoes.
I didn't know this. Wow. Woman
go
of many
check her
talents.
out. Oh yeah, she's awesome. She is so awesome. She does like jackets and stuff. So definitely go check out her Etsy shop. Once she puts it in the chat, I'll highlight it. Make sure you guys go there. It's awesome. And then we've got last week's guest, Harith Productions, my buddy. And here we go. It's Far Far Away Factory. Go check that out on Etsy. It's awesome. Go check it out. Go check it out. And then Brooke also said, it's okay. We can play next time.
Okay, good.
There you go. But guys, let's get into it. We're talking about the Blue Shadow Virius arc today. It's, I think, an underrated arc, in my opinion, especially in season 1. You get to see more of Padme and Ahsoka kind of connect a little bit, which is huge for the series because it's like Anakin's two best, like, oh, it's my wife and my Padawan. So it's like to see that whole little connection that they have. But we're going to go through the rankings first, just so if you haven't, I should have explained this backstage, but here we're just going to explain it now. So the way the ranking will go, so we won't do individual episodes. We'll do it as an arc.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes Padawan, it goes Youngling, Padawan, Jedi Knight, Jedi Master, Grandmaster. So Grandmaster's the best, Younglings, meh.
Got it.
And then there's everything in between. So that will be what we talk about at the end of the podcast, at least the episode version of the podcast. But,
right.
Char, do you want to do the introduction?
For the arc, or
Yeah, for the episode.
Okay, I'll do the introduction. So essentially what this first episode is about, which is episode 17, Blue Shadow Virius. So it starts out with Padme and Jar Jar going to Naboo and finding out that there's dead shock on the side of the river, and there's been an alert about a virus or a plague that's breaking out on Naboo. So when I was watching it and seeing them in their yellow jumpsuits with their they basically looked like they were in the what's that movie called with Lawrence Fishburne? It's a movie. It's like a plague. It's with Lawrence
Contagion?
Fishburne. Contagion, yes. They're wearing those outfits, and it looks like back when COVID first started.
Oh, dude, this hit home.
Back when the the first 1 to 2 months when it first started getting crazy. This is what a lot of people looked like. Like that's how it was like, wow, bringing back old memories. But yeah, we find out that this virus is only usable, or it's only viable in water.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why those shock are dying, is because they're putting it in the water, and then later on Jar Jar and Padme get captured by Dr. Nuvo Vindi, who is reviving this virus and using it for the Separatists. Yeah. And oh my god, I can't stress this enough. This guy is the Star Wars version of what's his name from Marvel?
He's the Red Skull. He's the Red Skull.
No, what I'm forgetting his name. He's the guy that's in the computer. He's the short guy with the glasses.
Virus.
The Hydra virus.
No, I'm talking about just him alone. The short guy with the glasses. He's in the computer and
he was in the last What If episode.
I think
yeah.
What's his name? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Why am I forgetting it? I even looked this up prior to be like, oh, that's who I'm thinking about.
Here we go.
His name is like
Armin Zola.
Armin Zola.
Yeah, Armin Zola.
Zola.
Thank you, chat. Appreciate it.
Thank you. See, that's why the chat came in handy. So so Dr. Vindi is basically the Star Wars version of I already forgot his name. Oh, Zola. Yeah, he's basically Zola. And even with his voice, he sounds just like him. Sounds like a German scientist trying to create chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. He's just like he's like a Blue Shadow Virius, and I'm just like, first of all, how did the Separatists have an underground base on Naboo? Come on, like this is where it all started. I get that, but like, here's the thing that makes me think: is that a old like Sith, like what Palpatine and Plagueis might have used back in the day as like a thing on Naboo? And Palpatine was just like, here's a place that I don't use anymore, in Naboo, because there's another 2 arcs where the Sith are very like they have places and their constituents have places on Naboo, which is a Republic planet, and it's just like how do we keep missing this? Like, come on, like it can't be that easy to do that, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody's thoughts on that?
No, I think that's valid. You know, it's his home, Palpatine's home planet. It's totally possible that he could have had some secret. I'm trying to think back. There's a web comic that came out right around this time that was like takes place right before the Blue Shadow virus, and it goes into like Asajj Ventress and the Doctor. And I'm trying to remember if there was like a
really?
direct connection, because if so, Palpatine could have given it to Dooku to Asajj, and that might have been, but I can't recall off the top of my head.
That's interesting that you say that. I might have to look that up in a little bit. But like that was just weird. And then Char said this episode really does hit close, especially like rewatching it and seeing what we've gone through the last 2 years or a year and a half or however long you want to call it. And it's just like it just hits way too close to home, especially pandemic wise. I'm just like like I don't know what's going on, but I just had to say that in there.
No, you're right. Even when like Anakin sent Ahsoka in, and I was like, put a mask on, like, get some hero, you know, like,
where's your hand sanitizer?
Yeah,
you gotta lather it up there. Come on, guys, you gotta just get hand sanitizer. We can't let the virus get us. But I think and then I've got a couple other things. 3PO, when they get the droid, when they capture the droid, and 3PO, they start doing the brain surgery, taking out the head. He's like, can I shut down? And Padme goes, no. And he goes, oh, I'm gonna have sensory overload. I'm like, dude, sensory overload? What is this? You're a droid. Like, what? Like, are you trying? What? No, come on, 3PO. Come on. So I thought that was funny, and then obviously you have the comedic timing of Jar Jar, as always. Jar Jar being Jar Jar. But he ultimately finds usefulness in this arc in particular, which is good and we saw it in the Dooku captured arc. He's slowly but surely becoming more valuable to the Republic as a whole. Yes, he's got his goofy moments. Yes, he was goofy in the first 2 films, but like he's starting to show that he's really valuable. And I can't be the only one that notices that, right?
No, I think that's on purpose, you know, like trying to just show a character evolution or just trying to see how he gets from point A to point B. I'm not necessarily the biggest Jar Jar fan, you know, like I felt for Padme getting stuck with Jar Jar. I'm like, of all the people, of all the beings, that's like the worst person to get stuck with.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, for sure.
I feel like getting stuck with Jar Jar at any given moment is pretty bad.
It could be, or it could be just hilarious.
In the Bombad Jedi episode, she has to deal with all of his nonsense too, and we covered that a couple weeks ago.
And it's almost like she's like, "Oh, I'm used to it now." She's just gonna Jar Jar's gonna do Jar Jar things. But talking about a different Gungan, Peppy, she is awesome.
Yeah,
she is more useful. Like they should have been like, Jar Jar, you stay here. I'm gonna take Peppy, and we're gonna go because you're just not handling this well.
Not it. Yeah.
But and then talking about Dr. Vindy, he, like Char said, he gives off the Zola vibes, but I also feel like he gives off the Dr. Frankenstein. Like the Blue Shadow virus, it is Frankenstein. He's trying to bring it to life and all this and that. So I found that really interesting.
Yeah.
But what were your guys' thoughts on Vindy and how menacing he is?
I mean, I instantly I rewatched it, and I think I thought I couldn't place its species, and I'm usually pretty good with that. And I was like, I guess I thought maybe he was like Utapawan or something before, but I went to Wikipedia, and he's a species called Faust, and there's nothing else. It's just him. There's no one else in canon or legends, at least according to Wikipedia. You guys tell me if you know, but
no,
he appears to be the only one of his kind that we've seen, which I thought was interesting.
It is interesting because then it's kind of like I'm the one person in my whole species. Let me revive this other one so other people can be the only ones of their species.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but totally.
Yeah, you bringing up that point, that just like flipped in my mind. I was like, wow, I mean, that gives him a little bit more depth as a character onto why he wants to bring the Shadow Virus back.
Yeah.
And his thought of people, he wants to use the weapon, he wants to use the Blue Shadow Virus against the people starting the war, and he thinks it's ethical for the virus to kill them instead of because his whole thing is, well, the war is already going on, like what's a couple other casualties from a virus that has been extinct for a millennia or however long it was. I think it was like maybe 1,000 years. But like I thought that was interesting. Anybody else thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, how the virus was revived, and it was, yeah, you say how long ago was it? It was a couple hundred years.
I either a couple 100 years or 1,000 years.
Yeah, and then initially, yeah, it was waterborne, and then Vindy in this episode, it's like, yeah, let's make it affect everywhere. Let's make it airborne, and let's make this thing a literal chemical weapon. And this is the first time in Star Wars where we see chemical weapons. Oh, yeah. And it's like it's insane on how fatal this thing is, and it has a 96% chance of killing the host or killing the victim if it's like contracted. So this thing is a big deal, and I think it was important for Padme to get to the bottom of Vindy's quest to essentially wipe up the entire planet of Naboo.
Yeah. So those two are getting captured. They get, obviously, Typho calls in Anakin and Obi-Wan. And the first thing that pops in my mind, Typho goes, General Kenobi, Anakin. I'm like, dude, there are too many signs here. Stop giving it away. Like, I get, like, it's just like I heard that and I go, dude, I understand we're the audience, but like, Obi-Wan's smarter than that. He can pick up on that. Like, what? Why? Why, Typho? Why you got to make it so easy? You know what I mean?
Catch. It's a good catch. Yeah.
And it's just like, dude. Now I understand why Obi-Wan in season 7 goes, would you at least tell hi for Padme for me? And I'm like, now it makes sense. There's been so many signs. Yeah. Everybody's just willy-nilly about this whole thing. I'm just like, oh my God. I thought this was supposed to be forbidden love. Not everybody knows and they just don't say anything about it. You know what I mean? Anybody else's thoughts on Typho just willy-nilly throwing out titles and stuff like that?
Well, first of all, I thought it was so cool to see Typho. Because there's not many times where we see him in the Clone Wars. There's only like maybe, I think, 8 or 9 times we see him in the entire series. And usually it's episodes that involve Padme, 100%. But seeing him be involved was a cool sight to see. Because him in Attack of the Clones, he's like, oh, we have to, make sure what's best for the senator and making all of these decisions. But now it's he doesn't really know what's going on. He's just like, so Padme just does her own thing. But Typho, I like seeing him just because of the fact that he was an important character in the prequels in terms of Padme's protection. Yeah. But actually, as time goes on, we know that Anakin's like her secret admirer and protector. Yeah. But Typho, he's awesome to see because there's nothing really too bad about him or anything too good about him. He's like one of those like C tier characters that's just, he's good to have on screen, but
he's there.
Doesn't really have much of a dynamic.
Yeah, Kier, anything else?
I know they go like I have just recently read the Queen, like the Padme.
Queen Shadow.
Yeah. And so Typho Panaka, like you get a little bit more back there. So I also, you get to know these characters a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Brooke, he's in the Padme books. So I feel like, I mean, the best thing about those books is you just get more context on the characters. And so when you do see them in these little moments, you're like, it's my friend, or it's this person I know more about now, and it fleshes it out. I think him calling Anakin, I don't know if it was on purpose, but I think it was, I think it was obviously it was intentional writing, but I think it's
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
good catch.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I meant to.
No, but so I haven't read those books personally. I didn't necessarily push them. I wanted my girlfriend to read them because she loves Padme. So
Hmm.
I was just like, you know what, you can read them first and then tell me how it goes, and then I'll get into them when I want to get into them.
Hmm.
And she loves them. She read the first one, is getting into the second one.
Yeah.
So I from what I've heard nothing but positive things. And
Hmm.
we will talk books later. And let me tell you, I am excited about this whole next books thing.
Oh, me
But
too. But you
I,
definitely need to read the Padme books.
I
They're
will
up
get
there for
around to
me.
it. I will
Okay.
get around to it. So back to the episode though. One thing that I think really, like I say every single week when we do this show does so much for the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin. It does justice of what Obi-Wan says in episode 4. Like, your father was a great pilot and a good friend. And you see that, and especially in this episode, because Obi-Wan has to remind Anakin, it's not only Padme's lives that are in risk, it's the entire galaxy potentially. And I like how he is able to bring Anakin down to earth a little bit and be like, "Hey, yes, we know she's in trouble, but we got to put this into a wider wider span of perspective, that it's not just her life, but it's everybody else's life." And I think that's good for Obi-Wan to do, because Anakin does very much get into his own head, especially when the people that he loves are in danger.
Yeah,
And
totally.
that was a good moment for us to see, because that's the relationship that he talks about in episode 4.
Hmm.
So from that, what did you guys get out of that conversation that kind of made it interesting for you?
I mean, I think this is in the next episode, but there's a point where Anakin says, "My Padawan and Padme," like he doesn't have that connection to Ahsoka yet, or
Mhm.
he's focused on Padme. Even if he's
Yeah,
trying to get the Obi-Wan Kenobi like general bigger sense, it's really hard for him not to
focus
zone
on them
in on
too.
this
Yeah,
woman he loves, which like I get it.
absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was interesting to see that.
No, yeah, absolutely. So before Anakin and Obi-Wan have that um back and forth, they send Peppy and Ahsoka to do some scouting, because Typho, being the awesome security guard that he is, bodyguard that he is, they got a layout of the actual lab. And let me tell you, that's a pretty awesome that's like a pretty awesome lab. Like, looking at it, it's big. I'm like, man, that's like really, really useful. So good job on Palpatine's part for doing that. Because he was thinking the entire time, just like, it fits Palpatine anyway. So it's just
Mhm.
like, that makes sense. So I mean, Ahsoka goes in, is very resourceful with using the Force, because she uses the Force to um I think she like helps Peppy, because Peppy's on top of the camera, and she like is like, "Don't move, Peppy, or else we're gonna get caught here." And I was like, you know what, that's really good, because it's still young Ahsoka, because you get to see her be mature and immature at the same time throughout the entire series. You see her character development. But the way that they're able to get into the lab is also really awesome. Um, so when they get into, like, so they have the LAATs. My first thought was, why didn't they drop more bombs? Because it's like they only threw detonators. Like, and I think about it from like a Battlefront 2 standpoint. Like, when you throw a detonator, you don't see a huge hole in anything that you throw it at. So I'm like, did they like put extra power into them? What's the thought on the detonators?
That's a good
I
thought.
have no
I hadn't thought
idea.
about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just was like thinking about it. I was watching. I was like, I feel like they would just hit the top of the place and just not explode. I mean, they would explode, but they wouldn't do anything. So I'm like thinking to myself, wow, those are pretty strong detonators. So that's what would have happened to everybody in Jabba's palace if it would have gone off. But so they are able to infiltrate. Anakin, Obi-Wan go down. They split up. Anakin's charged with finding Padme and Dr. Vendi. Obi-Wan look for the bombs, and Ahsoka be the distraction. And obviously, Ahsoka does a great job because she does an amazing job doing distraction. They take out a couple of droids. Her and Obi-Wan meet up. Obi-Wan ends up finding the bombs. They're all clear for a while. Then we get to Anakin. He finds Padme and he finds Jar Jar. Now Vendi, I will say, unlike a lot of the Star Wars villains, is very precise, and he kind of knows how to already push the buttons of Anakin. He knows what he can do because he gives Anakin a choice. You can either save your friends or come after me. And Anakin has a Vader type of response. He's like, how about I just kill you instead? And I was like, people that say...
I feel like that's Anakin's character, though. He's filled with ultimatums throughout his entire life.
Yeah. I feel...
It first starts with him like either leave with Qui-Gon or stay with your mom. Like his life is filled with them.
He's like, no,
and
I've
I feel
done
like
this before.
since he is now a full-fledged Jedi, he has this option to be willing to make his own decisions that one also benefit him and could benefit other people.
Oh yeah.
Because as a kid, what is he gonna do? Like he just has to. But in those situations, Vader, well, not Anakin now. Anakin is slowly stepping into the dark side. Ever since episode 2, he's been just slowly stepping in. He doesn't fully, immerse himself into the dark side, but there's always little signs of Vader that just flourish within him when there's either a conflict or a little situation where he's just got to bring his all, and it gets him a little confused a little bit.
Now, I will throw this I will ask our guest here this question. Is Vader and Anakin, are they two separate beings, or are they just one person?
I think they're one person.
Same here. Here.
I honestly think they're separate people.
I see it for both, but yeah.
I just like this proves to me like that Anakin and Vader are the same person no matter what, because you see the moments of Anakin having the Vader moment or just being Vader in himself. And like that's why I highlighted. I was like, yeah, that is such a Vader move.
I think the difference between Anakin and Vader connection, Vader is not as much as like a person. Vader is kind of like Venom. It's not really a person. It's just like a poison that's within you.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Because even I was recently watching episode 4 with my friend because he's never seen Star Wars. I posted a video about it on my TikTok, and I was asking him Star Wars characters, and he was like, you know what, let's put on episode 4 and watch it. And Obi-Wan even says like Vader was seduced by the dark side. He betrayed and murdered your father. So he's talking like Vader is his own separate person.
Yeah.
And Anakin, and it was a young Jedi named Darth Vader. He was a pupil of mine until he turned to evil. Yeah, so when he mentions Vader is like a poison. He's like a toxicity in Anakin's mind. So it just changes him. It's still Anakin, but there's a difference between Eddie Brock and Venom. Like that's what I'm trying to say.
This is true. Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that they're one person.
I think like the you guys know like the Bendu in Rebels, right?
Yeah.
And so like right in the middle. I think I talk about this a lot, but I think Star Wars is all about the gray. And so I think you can be one person and be, Vader and be Anakin. And it's just like this like gradient of where you're at. I do like you point to Venom about being like a poison. I think that's a really interesting way to think about it. But I think the way that the Jedi talk about it, they were so dogmatic and black and white. And so when they talk about Vader, they're like, Vader killed Anakin, and this is how I can deal with it, and this is how I compartmentalize it, so I feel better.
And the way Luke views Vader too. He sees Vader as this thing that's killing his father.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's hard. It's hard to say, oh, that is my father. You want it to be like, this is not him. I know there's something else. It's as a human, you want to be able to just like forgive and just that was Vader. That's not,
Yeah.
Anakin. But that's a
No,
whole
yeah.
different episode. I'm sure we can talk
No,
about
no,
more,
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even
so-
even with the Sith in general, like the Sith don't even go by their regular names.
No.
but yeah.
Like no one, once Palpatine revealed himself, no one calls him Sheev anymore.
No, yeah, no.
True.
Everyone
No.
either calls him Darth Sidious or the Emperor. That's
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
it. No one calls
Eh,
him Sheev.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like Brooke's point. I think that if Vader didn't have a suit, he wouldn't be considered different people by many. The mask dehumanizes him. That is a good point.
Yeah,
Great.
exactly. 100%.
Absolutely.
Chaka also makes the point of Vader was a separate person at that time, though. He was Anakin Skywalker, but I still think you kind of got like he kind of is like a Harvey Dent in a way. He's kind of like Two-Face.
Mm.
He has the Anakin side and he has the Vader side. It's just he doesn't have two separate faces in a way. Brooke also goes on to say in a way that doesn't happen with Ben. I feel like we always know that they're the same person because we see Kylo's face, which is very true. Very, very true. Chaka also goes, it's like the old story, the wolf you feed.
Exactly. Yeah, that's great.
Yep. Separating the two takes blame away from Anakin. I agree, and I kind of agree.
Yeah,
I kind of agree.
because if you are a part of the dark side, your name doesn't, your past and everything that you loved prior to that, it doesn't matter anymore to you.
Mhm.
Like
Oh, yeah.
in Return of the Jedi, when Luke says, I knew you were once Anakin Skywalker, my father. And then obviously he replies with, that name no longer has any meaning for me.
To me.
It's the name of your true self you've only forgotten.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like once you become a part of the dark side, you relish it and
Yep.
you just move on. That's it.
Yep. Absolutely.
So that's why I've always seen those two as separate characters.
Yeah. So Vindy ends up escaping. But Anakin ends up saving both Padme and Jar Jar. He goes after them. And Obi-Wan, on the other hand, finds the bombs. Anakin gets kind of into this little tidbit where Vindy actually has the activator, activates all the bombs as Obi-Wan's like getting all the bombs ready, and I'm like, oh god, we're having this issue again. And then like looking at all the bombs go like activate, I'm like, all right, how fast do you think we can get these all done? There's only 4 of us. I mean, we do have Obi-Wan, but it's like I almost got like, I swear, like season 1, there's a lot of anxiety. Like you start watching it, and when you're really invested in the characters, you're like, I mean, you obviously know that they're not gonna die because we know how the whole story goes, but it does kind of give some like a little bit of stakes in it. But so Vindy activates all the bombs, and Obi-Wan gets I think all the detonators are deactivated except for maybe one. Obi-Wan reaches Anakin, who's trying to get through the door, and in typical fashion, like it's like so dramatic with those two. It's not like, all right, I've got this and that. It's like Anakin takes off, and Obi-Wan's just like, okay, I guess I'll just hang back for a little bit.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, and so Anakin's obviously out there trying to deal with Vindy, and Vindy actually it's Obi-Wan who jumps up. Obi-Wan tries to catch Vindy. Vindy throws like a number of vials, and Obi-Wan's instantly like, shit, I gotta grab all these. And he does a really good job. Obviously, because he's a Jedi, he's able to do it with pretty ease. But Anakin...
That was something that bothered me, though. Like, we saw
really?
Ahsoka use telekinesis with
Yes.
the bomb. And for some
Mhm.
reason, Obi-Wan and Anakin have to have these, like, you can't just freeze or, I don't know. Like,
No, they just got to be extra, you know?
Yeah.
They got to be the heroes, you know what I mean? They got to do it.
Yeah.
So Anakin and Obi-Wan ultimately get Vindy. They get with the bomb squad's help, they deactivate all the bombs, and it's just in time as they capture Vindy. And that is the end of the episode. Like I said, this was a good introduction into Vindy. And like I said, it's very, 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 very representative of what's going on, especially when we're still in a pandemic. And I'm like, it just hits too home hard. It just hits home too much for me. Did you guys get that vibe also?
It definitely was different viewing it now from when I saw it before the pandemic, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like watching that just makes me want to put on my mask.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the episode.
Like,
Let me go.
Yeah.
It's right there. I gotta grab it.
So this is probably the last time we'll talk about Anakin stuff, but I'm sure we talk about him and Vader all the time. Chaco, he said, "No, I meant that in episode 4 they were separate people. Luke's father was written as a separate person. It wasn't until Empire." Yep, that is true. They were written as 2 separate people. But now that we watch the entire saga through, it does make I feel like Obi-Wan just is like, he tells Luke that because he doesn't want to tell him the truth. Obviously.
Oh, 100%. Luke was never ready for that.
No, he wasn't. But
rewatching this movie today, I've seen A New Hope at least 100 times.
Yeah.
Like when Owen and Beru and him are sitting at the dinner table, and they talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then they're like, that crazy old wizard is or that wizard is just a myth. He died about the same time as your father. And then Luke's reaction is, he knew my father? And then Owen's like, I told you to forget it. He wants to meet him so bad.
He's impressionable. He's very impressionable. He
wants to meet his actual family so bad. And then once he finds out who his family really have become, his mom died when she was giving birth to him and his twin sister. And you know what happened to the other guy. It's heartbreaking for him. But when Luke sees Vader, when Vader tells him that he is his father, Luke sees him not as Darth Vader, but sees him as Anakin. But Vader obviously is like, no, I am not Anakin anymore. I am who I am now. And
absolutely.
And I don't know. Maybe it'll change my mind on this, but I think that Vader and Anakin are one.
Yeah, I agree. They're not separated. They're one person.
Yeah,
and you just
you see
them.
Yeah, well, at the very end of Return of the Jedi, I've always seen them as separate people, but at that time, it's just one person.
Yeah, it's just one person. But let's get into the next episode. It's called Mystery of 1,000 Moons. Char, do you want to go through the plot summary and do the voice?
Oh, ready?
Yeah. Do the plot summary and do the voice.
All right. This one's for you, Tom Kane. I miss you. Please recover soon. All right, ready?
Yep.
I believe this is the one. Yeah, right here. Hard-pressed Jedi and their valiant clone troopers have thwarted an insidious separatist plot to plant bombs loaded with the deadly Blue Shadow Virus in key Republic systems. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker have captured the vile scientists behind that nefarious scheme. Dr. Nuvo Vindy, now the Jedi plan to transport Vindy to the Republic capital for trial. I guess that was okay.
That was very good.
Was it? Because I'm not using my mic. I'm not home. I'm using this regular Apple, bent the ends and talking to it,
Everybody was missing that last week. And I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I tried my best and it just doesn't do it justice.
Thank you.
No, but this is a very interesting. This
episode's awesome. I enjoyed it a lot.
I really enjoyed it as well. So starting off, Obi-Wan and Anakin are transporting Vindy to Theed for trial, while Padme, Ahsoka, and the rest of the clones are down there deactivating the bombs and trying to find the other droids because there's still droids going around in the lab. But 2 clones are searching the bomb room when Vindy's... By the way, we forgot to mention Vindy's droid in the last episode.
Oh, yeah.
Vindy's droid is a menace. He might be cute, but he is a menace. He is not a nice droid.
Like I
He's not
thought, I
like
thought I
R2,
hated
he's not like
R3S6, but that this droid is just.
I don't know.
Strong words.
They might be on the similar wavelength, but God, Vindy's droid is just.
He's a
R3
man.
was R3's whole purpose was just to sabotage and stall their mission. This droid, on the other hand, is just
Well,
like
it's like
just
screw
holding
this.
up the middle finger to everyone and just doing his thing. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
Guess what? I'm a droid. This isn't going to affect me except for maybe the explosion.
Yeah.
So he's like, the clones are like right there and they're like, stop. And then he hits the button and I'm like, God, this feels like it's like the pandemic again. It's like, God. So it goes off and Anakin, so Rex and Ahsoka are both down there without any safety gear. Padme ends up in a different room with Jar Jar, so they're good. They have the suits. I believe they have the suits on, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But Anakin realizes that the virus has been released. He informs Padme. She basically goes. Her and Jar Jar get the suits on and go hunting for the remaining droids so that they can't escape to get the virus to come out. Jar Jar, like I said earlier, does a good job of kind of being Padme's wingman in a way in this episode. But like when that bomb first goes off and all of them are going to like that's like like seeing them like running away from the virus, I was just like, that's so metaphorical. It's not even funny. Stop it, Dave Filoni. You did this like many years in advance, but this is not funny anymore. Stop trying to hurt me.
Oh, man, when that door shut and like a little bit of the virus came,
Yeah.
I was like, no, you're not safe.
Where's your mask? Where's your mask at?
Yeah, exactly.
No. And it's like when you start hearing the coughing, you just like look behind you and you're like, oh God, is it here? Am I gonna get it? Chuck, I can't hear you. Charles? No. Oh no.
We lost him.
Speak. Oh no, we did lose him.
All right, maybe he'll jump back.
No, he
come
will.
back.
He'll come back. But on that point, like seriously though, on a serious note, I was like, this is not funny anymore. This is too real for me. I can't do it.
A little too real.
But in the chat, we've got Aiden talking about the angels from the moons of Diego.
Yes.
Very much a callback to Phantom Menace.
Absolutely. I hadn't put that together until I rewatched it a few days ago. But I was like, oh my gosh, that's Annie, like the angels, the deep space pilots. Like, that's so cool. I love that.
And I feel like Dave and George, obviously George was like, here we go. We're gonna just like I've had this concept. Let's throw this in there, like just for fun.
Just a fun
fun little tidbit for you. And then Chaco, random side note, he had glasses, which is very rare because we don't see a whole lot of Star Wars characters with glasses. So that is a good point.
I hadn't thought of that. Yeah.
I thought the Jedi who helps Ahsoka find her lightsaber and lightsaber lost had glasses. I might be wrong.
Shoot. Ooh, I don't know. Sorry.
No, I can't think of it either, and I think Char will be able to help us when he comes back.
All right.
But we're gonna keep chugging along.
Okay.
Like I said, the little droid is a menace. That's number one. He's the worst.
He is. Yeah.
Like him and R6 are tied for the worst droids in all of Star Wars.
Ooh.
Like
that would be a fun list. The 10 worst droids of Star Wars for sure. I don't think I could do 10. Yeah.
Like, that's the issue. Like I don't think I could do 10. The other point that I had was Anakin and Obi-Wan work great together as always, like they're meant to be, because they are supposed to be able to do all these things and work as a team, work coherently. So we see that a lot in this episode. We also see, like you mentioned earlier, that they that Obi-Wan has that moment again with Anakin saying, put things into perspective and really like don't think I understand you're worried about the others, but this is a galaxy. This could be a galaxy-wide thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think it really opens Anakin's eyes to where he's like, I mean, he understands that, but he's still always going to worry about the people that are closest to him, which is part of being selfish, which is leads you down the dark side of the Force. Blah blah blah. That gives you kind of the intro into that.
For sure. And you wonder how much, and I'm sure we'll see this in the Kenobi series that's coming more, but like you see these moments of Vader. You see these moments and you see Obi-Wan trying to be like consoling or like reassuring, and you have to wonder what he's thinking, like what's the best approach here? Do I say like don't do that? Do it, you know, like I can't imagine that must like that inner dialogue I want to hear, you know, of what Obi-Wan's thinking. So
yeah, R3S6 is the worst. See, I agree with you, Chaco. He is the worst because it's not like the little droid from this arc was like trying to play like, oh, I'm just an innocent little droid. No, he was a menace from the beginning. Whereas R3 was like, oh, I'm trying to help you, and it's just like, no, you're not. You're not being helpful. You're being a menace. Stop trying to kill the people that are the main characters. Knock it off.
Yeah.
But we got Char back.
He's back.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't miss out on the party.
No. We were just
so the reason what happened was my girlfriend called. And since she called, I'm on my phone. It made my whole screen buffer. And when I was trying to, when you were saying speak, all I see was my screen was black, and there was like a little circle just spinning, and I was like, "Oh no!"
No!
So I quickly answered real quick because she was driving to Nashville. So I was like, "Oh, hey, yeah, she's going down there for the weekend to visit her friend. She goes to Belmont, so they're going to say hi to her." So
yeah, awesome. Yeah. We were just talking about how
I saw Chaco's comment about R3. I don't know if it was like you guys continued that conversation.
We did a little bit. We did a little bit because I brought up my point of like the droid is still a little menace. We talked about how Anakin and Obi-Wan still work so well together. Kind of one being one side, one being on the other, and being able to balance each other out as brothers now. The droids, on the other hand, not giving a single crap about the rest of the planet was on point. I was like, you know what? That seems eerily familiar again. And like, I can't really put my finger on it, but I can, but I'm not going to. It's just like, oh, we don't care. It's not going to affect us. We're not life forms. And it's like, God, the worst type of droids. It's God. And it's like Padme and Ahsoka are just like, all right, we got to take care of him. And it's like too late. And he shoots the door. And it just like takes him out. I'm like, that's what you get. That is what you get. If you were a life form, that would be human selection. And you are one of those, my friend. You are one of those. So back to the whole Padme Ahsoka. So when Padme and Jar Jar get to Ahsoka's location, they open up, they obviously see that they're all infected. And you can see the sympathy in the relationship between Padme and Ahsoka. What did you guys most like from that relationship forming from this episode? What really jumped out to you?
You go ahead.
I mean,
You took my spot, so you can go ahead. I'm kidding.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry.
You have been replaced. Yeah. Go ahead, Kira.
No, I love the relationship between them. You know what it's going to blossom into. So seeing like the beginnings of this, seeing them like initially having all that is just it's very satisfying.
It's a beautiful moment to see Anakin's love interest and his Padawan start to bond a little bit, and it's like it's so neat to see all of these intertwining connections with Anakin, and not even just Obi-Wan and Padme. I know they have a friendship, like just based off of, from the movies alone, from Attack of the Clones. And
Yeah.
but Ahsoka is such a cool, and at this point she's not really that popular. But as the seasons go on, she becomes a fan favorite.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Padme's been a fan favorite for years.
Yeah.
So seeing those two develop a good connection, it just brings joy to myself and my heart.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Highlighting Star Wars lawyer.
Oh, hey.
Yes.
I remember he wanted to play BF2
tonight. Which I will not be able to attend because of the reasons I mentioned earlier.
Neither will I, because I am 2.5 hours away from home.
Exactly. Kier, you said that do you have a gaming system?
I have a gaming PC, so I don't have
Yeah,
a.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
she said that she does have a PC.
Yeah,
Not
I
a
do
console?
play. I just
Here's
just
the
like
thing.
Zell, she has a
Just like
PC,
Zell,
and
she has
that's
a PC.
Sorry about
Get a
that.
PS5.
Okay.
PS5.
PS5s aren't easy.
What?
I know.
You can't get
Wait-
PS5s like hands
wait
of
till-
bananas at a grocery store.
Wait till after the end of the year. And then,
Okay.
because the only reason why I say PS5 is because they're going to come out with KOTOR, obviously, the
Oh my
remake.
gosh, I'm so.
And that's going to be on
excited.
PS5.
But I hear it's going to
and
PC eventually, or at least.
Eventually.
Yeah.
But if you want to be one of the cool kids,
I
you
know,
get
I
it
so do.
instantly.
I so do.
I mean, dropping that much
You
money
see,
for
I'm not going to
KOTOR
get a
content.
PS5 because my girlfriend was nice enough to get me a Series S back in
Ooh.
January. She just got it, bought it for me out of the woodwork. And I'm like,
What?
she just showed me the receipt. I'm like, why? She had to spend $200 extra because of how high in demand they were. There's only 3 on Amazon.
The real
And
MVP.
she had to spend like $530. I'm like, why? But I mean, thank you. But
You got a good
why?
girlfriend there. Yeah.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Oh, it was insane. But it's something that I'm really thankful about. But that's also the main reason why I'm not getting a PS5 is because I already got that next gen console.
Yeah,
And
sure.
because the reason why I wanted that console is because I'm a huge Halo fan and I wanted to play Infinite on it. But obviously, it didn't come out in January. It's taken almost a year for it to come out. It was initially supposed to come out a long time ago. But
Brooke, Brooke says keeper.
I intend to.
There you go.
But so,
back to Star Wars.
Yes.
I know you said KOTOR, but there's Halo and then there's Skywalker Saga. Lego Skywalker Saga.
Oh,
that I think what I've heard, it's cross-platform. So you don't have to worry. I'll be using Yaddle. I'll be just running around and you can follow me. Maybe Indiana Jones will be brought back in. Okay.
Oh man, that's gonna be awesome. But back to Star Wars, back to the episode. The only downfall to the droid taking itself out is Padme ends up becoming a casualty, rips a hole in her enviro suit, and we see the effects of that happen with Obi-Wan and Anakin. Well, especially Anakin when they get Vindy to Typho. Typho says that there is a cure, but it's the Reska root only found on Iago, which Aiden made the reference earlier to Phantom Menace, the angels on the moons of Iago. So Anakin obviously goes and he says, "We're gonna do this." Typho says, "We're gonna send a group out," and they go. Anakin goes, "No, we'll just do it ourselves." And Obi-Wan in like calm fashion goes, "I concur." And I'm like, about time our boys are on the same page on something. Because it's so hit or miss with them. So they get on the Twilight, which by the way, if Luke Skywalker thought the Millennium Falcon was a hunk of junk, this ship takes the cake. Especially takes the cake. Like towards the end, it is almost worse than the Millennium Falcon. Let me just say that.
I don't know about that.
This ship takes a beating throughout the Clone Wars, and it's just like if Luke Skywalker saw that thing, he'd be like, "What a piece of junk!" And I'd be like, "You'd be right on that one. Yep, you'd be right."
Yeah, and I don't think that ship's got it where it counts. Kid.
No, definitely doesn't. So Anakin and Obi-Wan approach Iago. They land. Well, as they're going through, they see it's the Separatists have obviously been there because it's a ship graveyard. Which was really interesting to see because I don't think we see a whole lot of ships that have been in battle or have tried to getting away. It like, I mean, we see Anakin's ship in R2 Lost, but that's about the extent of seeing like ships being debris and whatnot. So I found that interesting. So when they land, all of these disfigured droids come over and are welcoming them, and Anakin instantly goes, "All right, let's take them all out. Just let's jump into it." And I think it's so funny because at the end it's like, "Welcome to Yago." And the last one he takes out, and Obi-Wan goes, "Impressive, you took out 15 unarmed droids." And then one of them cuts in half, and he goes, 16 actually. And I'm like, you just did all that work for nothing, my guy. Like, come on.
He wants to save Padme. Let's get to it. In a hurry.
Yeah, absolutely.
He thinks the same way as all the clone troopers. If you see a droid, guns out, baby.
Go for it.
Yeah. And then
or in that case, sword out, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we get to meet Jabo, which I think is an interesting character, and Dave Filoni, I would like to see where Jabo goes because I feel like he would have been really useful in the Rebellion. That's all I'm gonna say, because he can repurpose droids. He's really smart. Like, the kid's got it going for him, and now he can leave Viego whenever he wants. Just saying.
True. That's
Just
true.
saying.
It kind of reminded me of what is it? The Aftermath novels with Snap, Wexley, and Mr. Bones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so like that.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that didn't really particularly
Stuff's going down on the Kiva. Ooh. Mr. Bones, I love him.
Mr. Bones, Mr. Bones. So he's hanging out in a hammock, and I love the fact that he's like, and the droids are like, turn to level 2 or turn to channel 2, and there's like Hawaiian music playing, and the vulture droids are swinging him in the hammock. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, this is low-key really funny.
Whenever a droid gets repurposed, it's always great. Like,
for
example, look at K2SO. Come on.
Yeah. Absolutely. So Jabo explains that when the Separatists left, they left a lot of the droids behind, which, again, we always talk about this. The Separatists don't care about the droids. Dooku doesn't care. Grievous sure as hell doesn't care because he destroys them all the time. It's like the Separatists don't care. It's like, your droids, we don't need you anymore. Which is really, really, like, they're not cheap by any means. They're expensive. So you're leaving millions of trillions of credits on a planet for no reason. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
So Jabo says that that he reprogrammed them. They do his bidding and whatnot, and then he also gets into Droll, the evil spirit of Viego, haunted of Viego. And Anakin and Obi-Wan are very, very skeptical of Droll, as you can kind of tell. Anakin and Obi-Wan inquire about the Reska route. Jabo obviously mentions Droll. And he basically is just like, yeah, there's no chance you're getting off, because 50 of the best pilots in the galaxy tried, and none of them made it out alive. And I was like, bro, you're talking to the best pilot in the galaxy. They're probably gonna make it out. Come on. But what were you guys' thoughts on Jabo, real quick?
He's great. I wish he was still around. Like, I wish we saw more of that. He's a good character.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But you also have to take into consideration, there's a lot of characters that Filoni has planned for in the future. He's already said he's got plans for Barriss. He may have plans for Jabo. And there's way, way too many characters that still have existing arcs. So their cement isn't dry yet. We'll just have to see if they will come back.
Yeah.
But Filoni has been really taking the charge in terms of what content's being pushed and what he's in charge of, since he's obviously since he got promoted, he's now a really big deal in what's going to happen in the Star Wars community. So
No, yeah.
he
Yeah.
can pick and choose who's going to have an arc, and I feel like since they're Clone Wars characters, anything could happen. Anything could happen,
Yeah.
and he's the
So
person to
true.
make it happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Anakin and Obi-Wan descend down the cliff to find the root. J-Bone shouts, "Don't touch the vines because the plants don't like it and have teeth," which brought me to the point of I think there's a plant that is similar to the plant that attacks Anakin and Obi-Wan down in the bottom of the cliff in Fallen Order in Kashyyyk.
Kind of. Yeah. It's
Sort
similar.
of. Very,
Yeah.
very similar. I just had to throw
I
that
know what you're
little
talking
tidbit in
about.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's inspiration. That was what they used for inspiration for Jedi Fallen Order. Interesting. Anakin at one point says "poodoo," which is a reference to Sebulba in Episode 1, which I found that interesting.
Yeah.
So they end up, and then it's opposite of what Dooku captured was. Anakin's the one doing the work while Obi-Wan's protecting, unlike in Dooku where it was flipped, where Anakin had to fight off the Gundark, and now Obi-Wan's fighting off this other one. So that was an interesting little thing that I caught earlier. They
Do
managed.
we know why he used a shovel instead of a lightsaber?
I don't know. That
I
was
was like-
something else I was gonna say. Like, you've got a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Use it. What?
I
Oh,
guess
just
it's
got
called
a shovel.
he's improvising. Leave me alone.
Yeah,
Leave him alone.
He's improvising.
He's finding a way around his problems,
He's-
and digging or swinging is the one way to do it.
he tries to dig himself. He digs it out and evidently gets, and he has to. And it's not like he like stabs it with the shovel. He like rips it out. I'm like,
Why? Yeah.
why?
Okay.
Just use the lightsaber. Like, what are you doing? Like, so they get it. I can't remember how they get out of the cliff. Did they use the bat creature?
The Zandu or whatever? No, I think they just climb. It just cuts to
Yeah, because I think while they're climbing, I believe both Anakin and Obi-Wan are trying to fight it off with lightsabers at that point as they're climbing. So they make it off the cliff. J-Bo's like, wow, you guys are for real. And it's like, well, they're Jedi, J-Bo. Come on, let's put the pieces together. So then he starts talking about the droll in more context. And he takes both Jedi to like a, not like a meeting room. No, it is a meeting room with a lot of other different species, and they start talking about droll and all this other stuff. And J-Bo shows a hologram of a, I don't know, his
His name is Taquito.
Taquito. Yeah, Taquito. And it shows him being electrocuted, and then his ship explodes. This doesn't deter the two Jedi at all. Like, Anakin is like,
They've already seen enough.
Of course.
We'll get through this. We'll be fine. So they attempt to do it, and then they realize that it's an energy field preventing them from leaving.
Created by all living things. Oh,
Yeah. Definitely by the Force. Definitely not by any technology.
Yeah. It's a midichlorian force field.
Yeah. So they obviously, Obi-Wan theorizes that that the Separatists installed this the field so that the citizens couldn't get off the planet, which makes a whole lot of sense because the Separatists are being painted as the evil guys. So why not just throw more evil on them? You know what I mean? So Anakin and Obi-Wan land, they receive a hologram from Ahsoka and Padme, both appearing to be in the worst shape possible. And this is where Anakin starts to panic. And another revealing thing about this is that Padme almost says, "I love you."
Yeah.
And it's like, good thing that they shut off the hologram that quick, because that would have been way too obvious.
Do you think she would have said it, or did she just say "I" and like she knew what he meant? Like, you know what I'm gonna say?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Or
it's
maybe
very,
it was a
very
reference back to what Leia and Han's conversation on Endor.
on. Oh
When
well,
there's like, well, you can
yes.
tell Luke. Is that who you could tell? When she's just like,
Yeah.
and then Han's just like,
Yeah, whatever.
Maybe it was a reference to that. I don't know.
No, yeah. So as they walk out onto the platform, Anakin obviously gets more anxious because he is realizing that they are really truly in trouble. This is where it really hits him, and he starts to kind of lose it a little bit. And he tries to rush to find a solution to getting past the energy field when Obi-Wan has to slow him down, remind him we have to take in doing things the right way, we have to take a couple steps back before we can take a couple steps forward.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos to Obi-Wan. Thank you for being the level-headed person in this situation, as always.
Yeah.
So then, now this is the meeting I was talking about. I got a little bit too ahead of myself. Obi-Wan tells everybody in the room, "Hey, it's just a force field that's keeping you here." And then there's these people that show up. They come out of the way. And they are. Hold on here. Sorry, I'm just losing my mind here.
It's okay. I do that every time. I do it every day.
So Obi-Wan basically says, like these people show up. They're called an angel. I guess they're called actual angels.
Angels on the Iago. What? What?
What?
What is this?
Coming.
What do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is about what Aiden was referencing earlier with the angels on Iago from Phantom Menace is that when you see them, they're like, wait, wow, they actually are strikingly beautiful.
Yeah.
So that was what 9-year-old Anakin was seeing in Padme. I was like, wow, he must really like her.
Yeah.
Or he must think she's really beautiful.
Yeah, because these angels
are just like,
are
literally what a typical angel is. But
yeah,
it's such a cool little Easter egg.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
totally.
I feel like a lot of times in Clone Wars they have different references to the movies and books, and it's awesome.
Yeah. What did you think of the angel though? Like I was like, no, that is an angel. Like saying that is pot. Now
when Anakin was there, it's like I think now he's sure that they came from the moons of Iago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was like, yep. They come from the moons of Iago, I think. But now he's like, they come from the moons of Iago. I'm sure of it now.
Yeah. But the angel ends up telling the Jedi that they were a peaceful people before the Separatists arrived and stole their home. Which it was just interesting. Like I was looking at that and I was like, the Separatists are terrible people. And then it's like, oh wait, I gotta remember Palpatine. And both sides are just as bad as the other. But she tells the Jedi that they stole their home on the moon of Milius Prime. I don't know if that was ever like really fleshed out, or if we know of anything. Char, does that planet ring a bell to you?
Milius Prime.
Because it doesn't do anything. It doesn't jot anything in my mind legends wise, even though my legends brain is not as large as everybody else's. I thought that would be like something that he would have grabbed from the book.
No, I actually I'm looking it up right now on Wikipedia. Milius Prime, that's the only
reference.
The only appearances. It's only one. It's Star Wars: The Clone Wars: Mystery of a Thousand Moons.
Well, interesting.
Yeah.
So Anakin theorizes that the primary mode of the energy field must be near Milius Prime. Obi-Wan notices the vulture droids in the other room. He asks Jabo if he can reactivate them so that R2 can fly them via remote control. Obviously, R2 being the badass that he is, can do that because R2 is my favorite droid and he can do anything his little heart desires.
Yes, he can.
He can never do any wrong to me, ever. So Jabo transfers the control to the droids to R2. They launch in the twilight, or the hunk of junk, as I like to call it. Obviously, the lasers activate. R2 attempts to send the Volta droids into the laser emitter, but they are destroyed. So Obi-Wan aims at the generator, blows it up. They're able to escape. They let Jabo know that he can leave whenever he would like. Leaves Jabo there. And then they head to hyperspace for Naboo. We cut to the LATs, the gunships on top of the base, and we see Ahsoka, Rex, and Padme all getting transported to the gunships. And we see the back and forth between Padme and Anakin. We see Anakin and Ahsoka, and then we see Obi-Wan talking to Jar Jar about getting blaster training. And
Yeah.
Rex, being the MVP of this episode, goes, I am not training him. And I was like, that's all of us.
Yeah.
That is all of us.
We get it.
No more.
We all have that friend that doesn't understand something and we know a whole lot and we are instructed to teach them about it. It's like, why do I have to do this? and that's what ends the arc. So here, since you're the guest, youngling to Grandmaster, where does this arc for the 2 episodes, where does this land?
I mean, I like the second episode, the Thousand Moons episode, more than the first episode. But as far as arcs go,
yeah,
somewhere in the middle. What's middle?
So like Jedi Knight or Padawan?
I'd say Jedi Knight. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Char?
It's season 1, which is, but yeah.
I give it a Jedi Knight because
I think
I am on the exact same. I'm on the exact same place as Kier took my place, but I'm in her spot now. Well, as she is in mine. It's a mutual thing, but yeah. I think this is a Jedi Knight arc, basically just because of one episode was not as good as the other. I think in terms of season 1, this was like a medium arc. There's definitely been worse arcs overall in Clone Wars, but this one it has a lot of depth to it, I'd say. Because the Blue Shadow Virus is interesting to learn about.
It's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
So
Chris
having that, I'm gonna give it Wayseeker.
Chris
That
says
is
I'm gonna give it Wayseeker.
Not a ranking.
Everybody in the chat, give us your
Orla Jareni is not a part of this podcast.
Yeah. Harith, he said, I'm waiting for the day when everyone disagrees on the rating. And I guarantee you there will be a couple of episodes where that does happen.
There will, 100%.
There will
Everyone's
be.
Because there's gonna be either
Oh.
one of Luke and I, or a guest or two, or maybe everyone will maybe have a different opinion on one. Maybe we'll have a different opinion on one thing. Maybe we'll like one thing more than the other. But it'll happen eventually, Harith. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's just in season 1, it's very let's just say very slow. There's really not too much to love, but there's not too much to hate.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ups and downs in season 1. But as we continue forward, we start to get into like, ooh, this is interesting, but it's going to be more interesting for other viewers, or maybe it's going to be not as interesting as you think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's going to happen eventually.
So let's get into Star Wars news.
Wait, Luke, you didn't give us your ranking.
Oh, I think it's a Jedi Knight, and Chaco gives it 2 Punk Krells.
Or maybe
So
you
we
did,
know-
and I just forgot.
So you're saying it's a Padawan then? Is that what you're saying? Because Punk Krell is
2 of them.
he said kidding, of course. Yeah. So we are going to get into Star Wars news. We are going to touch a little bit on Visions. So we are on episode 3, The Twins, which I was really hoping Victoria would be on here so that we can make a reference to Shaylo and her being the twins. But what did everybody think of that episode, The Twins?
You go first, Char.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think the episode, it's a cool concept. I think it's one of the coolest concepts I've seen in Star Wars in a long time. With that crystal being like this all-powerful source of energy. And then and then when the brother makes it into a lightsaber, and then it just gets insanely. If I'm sorry, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it. I mean, it's been out for a couple weeks now. I don't know what you're doing if you're a Star Wars fan, but but I love the idea that this powerful crystal can just cause so much havoc. Like, and I love the dynamic between the two characters too, because I say it's very similar. It's like if Obi-Wan and Anakin were brothers, like actual like family brothers, and like one fell to the dark side and one, you know, was remaining, or vice versa. I'd say one is staying with the dark side, one is leaning towards the rebellion or the Jedi.
Yeah,
and them going at each other. It's just like it reminds. It's like the whole purpose of Star Wars. It's about family.
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
like whether it's the bad or the good. That's depending on the story. It's an awesome way to story. It's just there's just so much going on in that episode. Because I remember watching the They Fly Now reaction for it, and I remember Harrison Carter. I don't think they were too impressed by the episode, but on the other hand, I think I was.
So this is one concept that I really loved. I really loved, and it was well done. I'm so glad that it's not canon, because people would have just picked this thing apart.
Oh,
And this concept of visions is just supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be legends that we all thought that
exactly
that they were, and I really appreciate it for what it was. And I thought it was a good story, and it's on my lower half of my rankings, but I enjoyed it for what it was.
I really like that one protocol droid in the episode.
Yes.
The one that was following the girl.
Very
I forgot
much,
what did the droid say when I forgot. I was laughing so hard. I forgot what it said. It was like, oh, I don't know, but if I go back and watch it, I'll remember. But it was so funny.
No, yeah, Kier.
You know, it wasn't, again, it's on my lower half of rankings for Visions episodes, but it reminded me of, like, more so than any of the other Visions episodes of what does Ahsoka say? There's always truth in legends, right?
Yes.
And so like it seemed like a myth that like had been told from person to person, like that game of telephone where it kind of gets like morphed into something else. It seems like a tale someone would have told, that they heard about Vader and Anakin, or Vader and Luke, or they heard about the dark side or Obi-Wan or Anakin, and they've just like it through the years it's like become more and more into something else. It like morphed into this amazing wild lightsabers that have whips and like this crazy story. It felt very like, oh, that kind of looks like Vader, or oh, he kind of looks like Luke.
Yeah,
absolutely. It just felt very like it was interesting. It was the only episode too that the voice acting took me out of it. Maybe because I'm such an Alison Brie fan, but I instantly recognized her, and then Neil Patrick Harris. And I was like,
that's right. I didn't even so it didn't even click for me that it was Neil Patrick Harris until the end. Unlike unlike Tatooine Rhapsody, that took me out because it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt right off the bat, and I was like, yep, I know that guy.
That's true.
I know that guy.
one is
and then if you saw Harris comment, he was like, I enjoyed
the
here we
go.
Yeah. I was watching your review. Yeah, you enjoyed it, but like you said, it didn't really impact you, like episode 4 and the Ninth Jedi. So that's basically Jedi. 4 and 6.
Yes, Ninth Jedi is my favorite.
Wait.
I love Ninth Jedi.
4th and 6, I believe.
And the duel. I love Ninth Jedi and the duel. Yeah.
The duel, I think, is underrated. I think as time went
Yeah.
on in that TikTok trend that's going on right now, I think that episode's getting a lot more attention than it initially did.
It should.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Chaco said there is a short story in Legends of Luke Skywalker that has.
I have that book. I haven't read it, but I do have that book.
Must be what I'm thinking of.
Yep, and he said that Twins was dead last on his list.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But here is the real Star Wars news that dropped yesterday. we've got new books. New
Woo!
books that are coming out. This is from the article on StarWars.com. We've got, first off, I'm going to give a brief analysis of all of these. The first one is called Shadow of the Sith, which is going to take place 20 years after Return of the Jedi, or 20 years, or two decades after Endor. Obviously the Empire is scattered, and like they're looking, and so Luke has haunting visions of the dark side, foretelling an ominous secret growing somewhere in the depths of space, aka Exegol. It's going to be awesome. And let me
Lando.
add,
It's Lando content.
yes,
I can't
and
wait.
Chris is very, very, very excited for it. And so am I. I'm really, 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 really looking forward to reading these books, getting either because we're going to get some mention. We're going to get some mention of Rey. Rey in some capacity.
I think that's a really good theory. Yep,
is going to either be shown, but she's not going to meet Luke and she's not going to meet Lando. But I feel like those two are going to have some meaning in it. And let me just tell you, Lando himself is very, very excited because of this. Somebody pick up that phone because I Criffin called it. You did. Harris says Shadow of the Sith and Brotherhood hype. Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to this book, but the one that's going to take it the most for me is Brotherhood. And the reason why, because me and Harith have talked about this little pitch for a while now. I wanted to see something like a Master and Apprentice type of book with Anakin and Obi-Wan. And we're sort of getting it. So this book is going to happen it's like 6 months into the Clone Wars. Obi-Wan gets sent to after an explosion devastates Cato Nemoidia. The Republic is blamed. The Jedi send Obi-Wan, their most gifted diplomatic, one of the most diplomatic minds, to investigate the crime and maintain the balance, which has begun to dangerously shift. As Obi-Wan investigates with the help of a heroic Nemoidian guard, which will be interesting because Nemoidian guards in episode 3 are very ominous people, especially in the video game. So they do some digging. Obviously, I think this is going to be your first ever canon. Not in the timeline. I think this is where we're going to get introduced to Asajj Ventress. I think this is going to be the story where we figure out how Anakin got the scar and what happened on that case of Cato Nemoidia. This is the story. And that's amazing. And it's I want more Anakin content. And I'm getting it, so I'm really happy. By the way, this comes out May 10th, and now everybody is speculating that Obi-Wan might be coming out May the 4th.
Yeah, I think that's a really good.
I feel like a lot of these books, especially
the fandom will explode if Kenobi releases on May the 4th.
It makes sense. It
does make sense because then it's only 6 episodes, which makes it either the finale will have happened the week before Celebration or it will happen during Celebration.
Oh, that'll be so awesome.
And I think that's amazing. And then they'll obviously have a panel and do all that show. But I'm really
there?
Hopefully.
I'll be there.
I'll be there. Yeah.
Char will be there. I am
awesome.
I'm very, very hopeful that I will be there.
Cool.
But we will. There's a lot going on. Hopefully, COVID's not a thing anymore, and it'll make it easier. But the next book we have is Stories of the Jedi and the Sith. I think this is going to be basically like a certain point of view telling.
Yeah, I love those are my favorite. I love anthologies. Some of these writers are amazing. So
because we're gonna have characters like Luke, Vader, Obi-Wan, Asajj Ventress, I think you're gonna get Ahsoka. I think you're gonna get Anakin. I think you're gonna get Mace Windu, Yoda, Palpatine. You're not gonna get Kylo because he's not a Sith. Sorry, guys, he's not a Sith. So that's one I'm looking forward to. Padawan, which is going to take place before, which is going to take place before, hold on here. Maybe. Char, why are there two of you?
Oh, no, there are two of them. I don't know.
Now there's two of them. But anyways, so this is Obi-Wan basically struggling with his place in the Force as a young Padawan. This is basically a coming of age. So I think this is going to be a young adult reader novel, which I'm fine with. I've read Out of the Shadows. I need to get my hands on Test of Courage, which is
Lost
awesome.
Stars, really good.
I have Lost Stars. I have not opened it. Carter and Harith have been like yelling at me about it for weeks, months actually, to get into it. But there's a lot of High Republic coming out soon, and much more. So basically, this is like the beginning of Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon's adventure together as Padawan and Master. So I'm really looking forward to that. That one comes out July 26th. Secrets of the Jedi and the Sith, Stories of the Jedi and the Sith comes out June 7th. Brotherhood comes out May 10th, and Shadow of the Sith comes out June 28th of 2022.
I think that Brotherhood book is really gonna help out, because if Kenobi comes out on May the 4th, I think that Brotherhood book is gonna really support what's gonna be shown in Kenobi. Yeah. So I think that book is, I think it must be like you have to have it or you're gonna be missing out on something.
Interesting.
Harith on the Kenobi we've talked about. So they fly now in Podwans. We'll have a crossover. We will be doing reactions to Kenobi.
Nice.
And we will be doing roundtables and whatnot. So be open for that. Whoever wants to come on and talk Kenobi, you're more than welcome.
Sounds awesome. Yeah.
Chaco says I'll be there.
Nice.
Chris, I will do everything in my power to be there. Same here, buddy. And then Celebration Gang from Brooke.
Awesome.
Chaco yelling at me to read Lost Stars.
He's not wrong. It's amazing.
Yes.
It is a really good book.
And then Harith also says Lost Stars is top tier canon book. So I will eventually get there, guys. There's a lot going on. I've got, there's just a whole bunch, and I don't have a lot of time out of the day to do a whole bunch of them. And there we go. Put me in, coach. I guess so, Chaco. Today. But guys, that is going to do it for an episode. Here, thank you again for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
This was a blast. Yeah.
Where can the good people follow you?
I am on TikTok at Mandaklorian, and that's Midichlorian and Mandalorian, and my last name Manda with K. It's like all three mashed together on TikTok and Instagram. So
yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for coming on. It was such an awesome job.
Thank you.
Char, where can the good people follow you?
Well, my phone is literally dying right now. Well, like, not in terms of like battery, but like in terms of connection. That's why I've been many times. But you can find me on TikTok at CharCharJay. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter at CharCharJay. Usually I think every single handle I have on social media is CharCharJay, spelled the exact same way.
And it's on the bottom of the ticker. I have it for every guest that we have on. So if you guys want to look down at the ticker, that's their social media. You can follow us at the Podwans Pod on Twitter. No, you follow us on Twitter on Podwans. You can follow the TikTok at the Podwans Podcast, and on Instagram on the Podwans Pod, I believe. Yes. But guys, that's going to be a show. Thank you again all for coming. Thanks you to the chat. And may the Force be with you.
And also with you. Thank you.